All right, it's showtime. Hey guys, back with another live stream. Today's topic, the title of the video is Are Young Skiers Being Scammed? What I want to talk about briefly today is about young skiers, young people who want to go off and do this amazing lifestyle, go and work a ski season somewhere in the world, and they reach out to companies that advertise a variety of different packages on offer that promises them all the enjoyment and the experiences that supposedly come with when you go off and do this. Now, the reason in particular why I decided to do this topic was because of a couple of comments, some emails I've had from you guys, the audience, who've reached out to me directly. And I just want to read one comment that I got just to kind of set things into context here. Hi, I watched your video a few months ago about your experience in Canada compared to the Alps. I'm currently applying for ski jobs in Canada, and I've gone through a tour company which guarantees 100% they'll get you a job, but it's 5 weeks until I'm supposed to fly over here, and they have nothing lined up yet. Just wondering if you have any advice about getting into a ski resort. Thank you. So that is not the only comment I've had from people with similar experiences. And for me, that's kind of like really concerning because this is such an awesome lifestyle to go off and do, whether it's for like one season, for 3, 4, 5 seasons. But it can seem really, really hard to get into that lifestyle. Like no one knows if you're doing it for the first time, how do you actually do a ski season? And that's where there's a gap for companies such as this. We've got Charlie. He's in the comments. Charlie, thanks for joining, mate. We're just diving into this context, to the context of this topic a little bit. And then, happy to get into some discussions on it. What these companies do is that they find a gap in the market for people who don't actually know how to go about applying for a ski season and all the things that come with it. They package it all together for you so that actually makes it a lot easier. They offer to do the work for you, and in return, they take a fee on top of the overall cost that it would take to get all of those things. So, such as immigration, in particular, the biggest thing to come out here to Canada is, of course, the visa situation, the work holiday visas. So, you'll see a lot of these programs marketed under this sort of work holiday banner. What they're saying to you is, look, sit back, give us the money, we'll take care of everything else, and we'll get you accommodation, we'll get you travel, we'll get you your housing, we'll get you extra benefits when you're in the resort, so on and so on and so forth. But 2 people reached out to me just in the last 2 weeks or so and said, I've gone with these companies and they've not guaranteed me a job. So that raised me the question, look, is this a bit of a ripoff? So I kind of want to go through a little bit of this package, give my take on things, because I think with a little bit of individual research, you can do a lot of these things that they're promising to do for you without any extra cost, and it will still give you as an equal an opportunity of getting that that dream job that you want. And Charlie was one of those people. Unfortunately, they offer an almost impossible package, and should mention that my experience was an unlucky one, and many people do have success. Yeah, I think that's a good point to chime in there, Charlie. And I just want to state that by no means am I going to start like slating on, sort of recruitment companies here. And but I do think, people can save themselves a lot of time, a lot of stress, and a lot of money by just actually doing things themselves or going direct. And you're right, there are risks because you can't 100% guarantee a job. I guess that's the first thing to get into, because that's kind of one of the main issues that people have kind of raised with me. And the reason why you can't guarantee 100% a ski season job is because, let's take here in Canada, for example, a lot of these resorts don't start advertising their jobs until late in the summer. So 2-3 weeks into August is when a lot of these jobs start coming available. Now, I was hearing from some of these people who said they'd been in contact with these holiday programs, like back in like February, March time. So I think for you to be signed up to a program like that so far in advance and being promised or being led to believe you're going to be guaranteed a job so far in advance of the next winter season is slightly misleading. During the summer, resorts are primarily advertising, or they're running their summer operations. And of course, like, resorts aren't the only job providers in town, right? You've got like your hotels, your heli ski operators, your private experiences, private chalets, that type of thing. But where Canada differs to somewhere in like Europe, for example, is that the large portion of the jobs in resort are from the resort operations itself. And there's less sort of private companies, less, say, private ski schools, if you're looking at being an instructor, as an example. So there's a timing aspect here where you've got to tailor your expectations. And right now, I will say, from what I'm hearing in the industry, is that there is a lot of people applying for jobs for this coming winter here in Canada. So if you're looking at doing it for this winter, by all means, get on and do it now, because a lot of them will now be starting to go through applications, starting offering jobs for this season. And then over the next 6 to 7 weeks, it's a case of you guys, if you get a job offer, get yourselves out to that resort as soon as possible and get accommodation, which is another thing I will touch on in a second. The other main thing then is immigration. It's your visa situation. Do just want to touch, of course, any comments that you have on this, do put them in the comments section below. And I will read them out and we'll have a bit of a discussion. I have put a poll actually in the comments on the live chat there about, do you think you should be applying direct here, or do you think it's good to go directly through these recruitment companies? Let me know. So with the visa situation, the way it likely works with companies such as these is that they're going to partner up with an immigration firm in Canada or wherever it is that you're looking. And they'll have some form of agreement in place there to help them with dealing with your application. And again, just to state, they are not guaranteeing you a work holiday visa. But what you got to remember is that this company will be paying this immigration firm that they're partnering with a fee for their services, and they're going to pass that fee on to you. So rather than you going through that process yourself directly to the immigration website, as an example, you're going to be going through 2 or 3 different other extras, all at an extra cost. There's more communication chains. And I just think it makes that process probably a little bit more chaotic and maybe less clear as well, because you're not entirely sure where your visa situation is at. From my own experience, this is from Charlie again, the job truly isn't the hardest part. Finding accommodation is something that a lot of people are struggling with, me included. I feel your pain there, Charlie. Like, feels like, I don't know what the situation is like in Europe right now. Like, I'd love to hear from someone who's like now in their working seasons, working in the mountains in Europe. But here in Canada especially, this seems to be such a huge issue. There's just like a lack of supply of any sort of housing, whether that's affordable or anything. And this is the thing, it's actually easier to get a ski season job in Canada right now than it is to actually finding the accommodation. And this is where it becomes hard, right? Because I had this conversation with someone last week, and I was saying to him, while you're trying to sort out your job situation, you need to get accommodation lined up. And that person asked me, well, how am I supposed to get accommodation lined up if I don't have a job and I'm not 100% yet coming to that resort? Which is a dilemma, but you've got to kind of take a bit of a chance here. So the way that you can do it with housing, with your accommodation, is that a lot of the housing you find out here through like the community housing Facebook groups, right? And you're gonna need to put a little bit of a post on there that says something like, "Hey, my name's Matt. I'm looking to come to Revelstoke and do a ski season. I'm currently applying for jobs and waiting for my visa situation. 1 or 2 lines about yourself. I'm quiet. I don't go out and party too much. I like to ski hard, but also like a quiet evening, blah, 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 that type of thing, right? You will get some people that will connect with you. And if those people are understanding on that situation, it's a tentative agreement there, right? But that's one option. Another option is if you get a job through the resort, there's a good chance that the resort has staff accommodation, right? That's one reason why you should try and apply for a job with a resort, is that there's better guarantees of getting staff accommodation. But yeah, as Charlie says, that's the hardest thing right now. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to find something. You've just got to keep persevering. That's the one thing that I'm learning more and more about, trying to do this life in the mountains, is that things do seem hard, but you just got to keep trying. So yeah, just touching again briefly on the immigration side of things. Like if you are getting if you get your job sorted, but your immigration situation has not actually been fixed yet, do mention that when you're reaching out for housing. You say, look, I have got a job lined up. I'm just waiting to hear from on my visa status. And some people will be understanding of that. Yeah, the housing is you just got to keep trying. But the later you leave it, the more expensive your housing is going to be. And if you're a young adult, if you're like in your early 20s and you're thinking of doing this for the first time, be flexible with what housing you're wanting to do, but also be wary of what you feel comfortable with. So what I mean by that is, look, okay, if you're a sociable person and you don't mind sharing with, say, 4, 5, 6 other people, maybe the staff accommodation might be a good idea for you. If you're a little bit more chilled out, you don't want to be partying so much, you like a bit of your own space, then you're going to be wanting maybe somewhere a little bit where there's only 1 or 2 people, or you're renting like a room with a family, for example. And you've got to tailor your introductions to that. Gavin, hey buddy, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining again. We're just getting into this topic here for people trying to come and work in Canada, and using sort of working holiday visa companies, or I don't know, they're kind of a travel company / recruitment company, and they package up all the aspects and sort of offer almost like a guaranteed job, or that's the way that a lot of the people who use them feel. And there's a lot of times where it works, but also it doesn't. And I've had a few people who have reached out to me, hence why we're talking about this. And Charlie's definitely been really vocal on that so far. So Charlie, thanks for commenting. Would love to hear from anyone else who's had any experiences on this in the comments, whether you're watching this live or after it's gone live. And benefits as well. That's another thing I've seen on a couple of these websites, is that they advertise a lot of things like your ski season pass, discounts on food and everything, and all that is it's just the discounts that are automatically linked with the season pass. So if you go direct to the resort or companies within town, you're going to get that season pass, and you're going to go and get those regular benefits anyway. And you'll find that out if you just go directly and have a look on the website and see what are the benefits of having a season pass. So I don't know. I just wanted to take 15 minutes there to kind of just stress the point to you guys that these aren't scams. They are a viable support mechanism for people who actually haven't a clue on how to do ski season jobs. But if you do research on the type of job that you want to do, the ski resort that you want to go to, the immigration process that is required, because there's so many free resources out there. I mean, I hope that some of my videos on the work holiday visa, on permanent residency, have given you some value. Moving to Canada is a great website for people looking to do it, completely free again. So yeah, do your research, go direct. It'll save you a lot less stress, and it'll save you money, and you'll be in control of what it is that you're doing. So let's just go through. We've got a couple more comments here, guys. Matt, I'm actually going to be able to get the opportunity to move out to Kimberley in British Columbia within the next year or so. Gavin, that's awesome, mate. Congrats. I know you were looking at different jobs. So how'd that transpire, man? Tell us a bit more about it. I've looked a little bit at Kimberley. It looks like a nice little resort to go and hang out at. And I'm sure there's good amounts of snow there as well. Yeah, tell us more about that. James has also commented, hi, Matt, how are you doing? Why is there less accommodation over there? Do they just not hold enough back for workers, more money in giving to holidaymakers? First of all, mate, thanks for asking. I'm doing a lot better than I've been in the last couple of weeks. My visa situation in the short term has been resolved. So when I say short term, I'm definitely 100% in Revelstoke for this coming winter. That's for another live stream, but yeah, there's a bit of a weight off my back, and I'm looking forward to a bit of a holiday in a week time with my family. Why is there less accommodation over there? Do they just not hold enough back for workers? Is there more money in giving to holidaymakers? I can only speak here from what the situation is like in Revelstoke. The short answer is that there is a lack of supply. I guess the longer answer would be it's a combination of things. Revelstoke is, it's the hot place to go to, right? So there's a lot of holiday rentals around, and so the actual stock of housing that is here in Revelstoke, there's a portion of it that is primarily for those short-term holidaymakers, and the people who do that, they look to maximize the income they get from that. So the pricing of that drives the pricing up at all levels, and that also in turn means that there's less housing for renters, so that the places that are up to rent are at a premium. And I think for a long time, a lot of these smaller resort towns have kind of got by and not really thought about longer term planning for growth, right? And the thing is, actually, British Columbia in particular is such a beautiful place, and it's super popular with tourists. And so when tourism becomes a thing, you need workers to come here to service those tourists, right? But then those people that come and work here need accommodation. But then at the same time, as these towns grow, new things are being built, right? So then you have the issue of, well, the people who are coming to build these places, you've got to get these staff from somewhere. And more often than not, they get these builders in from out of town who also then need a place to stay while they're here. So that further squishes the availability of housing. I'm understanding it more and more as things go on, but it's to answer that question, do they just not hold enough back for workers? it's a hard one to answer because there's so many businesses that are linked to tourism, right? and um, not every tourist business has the capital to supply staff accommodation. So in contrast, take the resort, for example, that has bought up a couple of the hotels, but is now also building staff accommodation. And they're building accommodation that's going to be at the resort that is going to be sort of completed over the next 2 years or so. And that's going to create a lot more stock. But in the short term, it's a real problem. I don't think that is alone will fix the issue. They're building just specific staff accommodation for the resort. But the problem is that, and I hope you understand how this ties into what I was all just talking about, is that there's this kind of like this vicious cycle that is in the bubble of mountain tourism life right now, which is like, you got to find your way in with a job. You got to find your way in with a visa. If you're coming from overseas, you've got to find your way in with a housing. But it's like, if you don't have at least one of the others, it creates problems for the others. So you're like constantly trying to resolve them. I'm actually planning to go back out to school there. I'm sure the skiing there is way better than where I am now. For our UK audience, in Canada, school means like either college or uni. I think I'm right there, Gavin. Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But that'll be a cool little place to do that, mate. So you can head out to the slopes when you're not studying. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the place, but I was Googling it for some other reason the other day. And yeah, it looks a nice little town. Something which I found out, which is really funky, a lot of the resorts have permits to build more accommodation, but they just don't. I really don't get it. Yeah. Now, it's not exclusive to like resorts. Like, this is actually like a thing all across, definitely in British Columbia, I think, maybe all across Canada. And I like businesses. I don't know exactly what the law is, but it's like they either you build staff like accommodation for your workers, or you pay a tax. And a lot of these big businesses, especially in the cities, just pay the tax. Like, they don't, or the fine. They don't build the accommodation. Now, resorts, tourist towns, I think more and more are starting to realize that the supply needs to come up now. But that's where it starts getting into a bit around permits and red tape and zoning, which, again, like, it goes over the heads of us who just want to come out here, live a life in the mountains. But more and more, having lived in a town now for 2 years straight, you realize how important that stuff is to the community, and how it affects jobs and people's ability to come and do this. But yeah, strange, right? Yes, so school means college or university. Awesome. I'm going to see how you guys are voting on that poll. I've just taken the live stream off my other page here. Oh, one thing I didn't mention, like looking ahead to this winter, is we finally had some snow here. A couple of dustings throughout the week. Been getting a bit colder. So yeah, it was a few times up on the top there. We've had a light dusting or two, which has really started to get the local excitement going a bit. I mean, it's all washed away now, but a little bit more wet flurries forecast during the week. So taking that as a really good sign here for this coming winter in Revelstoke. So right now, 100% you guys are saying that you should not you should not apply for ski jobs through recruitment companies. Good to know, guys. I'm glad you feel that way. Okay. Do you know which resorts have the cheapest or the most accommodation? I don't, Charlie, no. But, if you think about it logically, the best chance you would have of accommodation would be going to the bigger resorts, right? Bigger resorts, bigger skiing, more jobs, more opportunities to work, and you'd hope more opportunities or places to live. So you're thinking of like a Whistler, for example, but Whistler, as we know, is an absolute ripoff. So unfortunately, it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. It's not as simple as, okay, there's a competitive market to provide cheap accommodation or provide the most accommodation possible. I would say, though, that if you're living maybe more in a built-up area like a city, you do probably have a little bit more choice if you don't mind being out of the resort itself. So let's take, for example, down in the Okanagan Valley, where you've got the towns of Vernon, Kelowna, Kamloops, and within that area, you've got Silver Star Resort, which is, it's an hour's drive up from the town of Vernon, Big White, an hour up from Kelowna, Sun Peaks, which is just above Kamloops. So, little bit more, I think, sort of variety maybe on offer in places like that, and still a good sizable chunk of skiing. Good quality season you would have there for sure. I don't know if Simon's watching on this one. It'd be lovely because Simon did a season in Sun Peaks. It'd be interesting to hear about his accommodation experience there. But yeah, if you're in built-up areas like that, I mean, that's different from somewhere like Revelstoke, where there's nowhere else you can be, right? Take somewhere like Lake Louise or Sunshine, where actually pretty much all of the living is based down in Banff, right? But I hear even there, it's like, it's all real quashed. It's definitely a conundrum that I think the ski industry is facing, like globally right now. So Gavin, we have some colder weather here. I don't expect snow until around January, though. Yeah, I know East Coast, you're probably gonna gotta wait a little bit. I don't know. Here now, it's definitely started to come autumnal, and so the reason why I said like getting a bit of snow for us now is a good thing is that it's been so dry throughout the summer, and to reduce the avalanche risks during the actual peak winter, we need precipitation during the autumn months, just to create a little bit more of a stable base. And last winter, we didn't get any precipitation, any snow for most of autumn. And if you remember watching the start of my winter last year when we were skiing on like bamboo and, sorry, not bamboo, like you could still see the rocks and the tree stumps, right? That was because we had such a weak layer and a small layer starting. But the first winter I was here in Revelstoke, where we had like 12 and a half meters at the end of the year, at the top of the Revelstoke Mountain mid-October, there was like a foot or 2 foot of snow already on there. So, yeah, I'm hoping that over the next few weeks, that's a good sign of maybe a deep winter of powder here in Revelstoke. Vinny has made it for the live stream. Vinny, I think is this your first live stream that you've made it to finally? I'm glad you could join, buddy. Thanks very much for joining. I'm just going to grab a drink. Hang on. Glad to make it. Yeah, I'm glad you did as well, buddy. Kind of missed the first part of the the live stream there where we were talking about people trying to get ski jobs through these package companies. But yeah, now we're just getting on to getting excited about this winter. So Charlie, I don't know, Charlie, if you're still watching, what's your current situation now? I know you sent me an email the other day, but yeah, have you managed to find any housing for this coming winter? Vinny, have you got any winter plans as well? What are your winter plans? Oh man, you're making me jealous. You're super lucky to call Revy home. Thanks, mate. I'm loving life here, and I'm just glad that I'm not going to be leaving anytime super soon. Like my current visa was going to expire on the 28th, so this coming Thursday, and I was like, I've been freaking out for months about it, but in the short term, we've managed to get the correct permit application in that's put me on an implied status, and so for the time being, I'm here until at least March, and hopefully longer. But yeah, that's one for maybe another live stream. I don't know. I might be able to fit one more in before I go away and go on holiday, but we'll see. Can't wait. I only went snowboarding once last year, so I mean to go hard on it this season. I mostly stay in my state, which is Pennsylvania. Nice. Vinny, what if any skiing is there in Pennsylvania? Like I don't know a lot about that, so I'm really interested to learn a bit more about skiing in Pennsylvania. Would love to travel though. I've been to Colorado and Canada previously. Nice. Whereabouts in Colorado you go? Brad, I don't think he's watching today's live stream, but he from Ride Vibes, and he's got a big trip to Breck, I think it was, to Colorado planned for this winter. And in Canada, whereabouts in Canada did you go? Okay, so Charlie, I have a pretty good job with Vail Resorts on Whistler, but the housing crisis is simply a nightmare. I sorted accommodation for the first month. I'm there, so we'll see how it goes. Very excited. Well, at least you're in there, Charlie. I am hope for your sake that it's going to be easier once you get in, and maybe, you know, maybe sort of once you start to get to know one or two of the people in town, they might be able to point you in the right direction. Yeah, like what are you hearing around Whistler? Like it doesn't surprise me that it's a real crazy situation in Whistler, just because everything is so expensive as well, right? But you managed to get like temporary accommodation for the first month. James said it. Don't know how much Canadian and EU recruiters differ, but I had pretty much no success for Austria with the companies, had much better feedback and lots of offers going direct. That's really good to hear. So I mean, what exactly was your experience when you were trying to go through these with Austria? Because obviously there's the visa situation, right, for Brits trying to go work in EU right now, which is still only just starting to get solved. And I don't know what it, yeah, I don't know how the Austrian situation is right now. But that's good that you got more offers going direct, right? Because I think if I remember this rightly, James, you were looking at was it sort of hotels and maintenance stuff? Apologies if I've got that wrong, but correct me. Blue Mountain is my favorite. So this is in Pennsylvania, right? Very decent mountain with a lot of trails and open and good terrain park. And then there's multiple small mountains too. So in Colorado, Vail and Breckenridge. I love Breck. I did Breck and Winter Park when I was younger, like as a kid. And I only remember one night at Breckenridge where we had like 30 inches of snow on one night, which was incredible. Winter Park, I remember because they had the, if you've ever watched Forrest Gump and the Bubba Gump restaurant chain, there's one of those in Winter Park. I just remember that from like a very young age. And then in Canada, Mount Tremblant. I think Tremblant is East Coast, right? Blue Mountain is in Pennsylvania, right? Gotcha. Mount Tremblant is very nice as well. I've seen some good visuals on it. It does look good. And Vinny agrees. Very fun, nice long trails. All around, there is just crazy money in Whistler, and unfortunately, nothing new going on in the market. Like you said, hoping that once I get there, I'll be able to sort it. Yeah. Interesting, but like how? Yeah. So, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, Charlie. So how are you? Like, what's your accommodation situation for that first month? Are they just like, is someone got a room available for like the first month that they're just leasing out? Breck's been my favorite mountain I've ever been to. Yeah, I'd love to go back to Colorado, definitely, and explore it. Snowmass, I think that's one. I hiked, did a bit of hiking around Snowmass and played a rugby match in Aspen one summer. And yeah, Copper Mountain as well. Like Copper and Snowmass look like fun resorts to ski. I've got an EU passport, so that obviously helped me, and was looking at maintenance, but very little feedback from companies. And then I started applying for ski rental jobs and found it much easier. Yeah, I wonder if, like, thinking about it from the Austrian perspective, and it's funny you mentioned that, because when I did my time there, a lot of the people on the floor jobs, you know, like the rental jobs, a lot of them are the English speaking. And I wonder if that's a deliberate ploy by a lot of these businesses. Whereas when it comes to the hospitality style jobs, like in Austria, like in the hotel bar and the hotel restaurant, that type of thing, they try and keep with them within the family and sort of the more natural speaking to create that more traditional Alpine experience. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like in France, it's just like, you know, it's everything is pretty much British speaking, right? Not always, but for a large part of it. Yeah. I'm staying in a hostel for the first month, but I'm still trying to find an apartment, house, and room. So in Whistler, like, what's the main platform for trying to find housing, Charlie? Is it like a Facebook group? Is it, is it a website? Like here in Revelstoke, we've just got the Facebook group Revy Rentals. But if you've been on it, I mean, you know, for a town that has like 9,000 people living in it, the Facebook group has 18,000 people. So, and you don't ever see anybody posting their actual room now or their house for rent. It's just like people posting their, you know, about me, like a little bit of a CV of why you should pick me. Basically, I've given myself a month, and if by the end of that I can't find anything, I'll be moving. That's a tricky one, that. Real tricky, man. So there's Facebook groups, Craigslist, and that's literally it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a... like there's not one answer to resolve it, is there? Do you know? It's like I say, it's kind of like this it's like this circle that just keeps going around, and it's like, well, we need the workers to come here, but the workers need a place to live, And it's like, if they don't have a place to live, then they're not going to come here. And they're not going to come here if they don't have a visa either. So, what do you tackle first, or what do you prioritize? I think, there's no shortage of people that want to come for the jobs. So there's certainly, the demand for the jobs is not an issue, right? The demand is not the issue, I don't think, on any of those aspects. It's just the supply. Now, speaking from Canada's situation, they've made a large, up until just recently anyway, they've made a large effort to kind of fix the delays in processing visa applications post-COVID, and that does seem to have got a lot better now. But then there's just the housing situation here in Canada is not exclusive to tourism. Just want to put that out there. Like, if you follow the news a little bit right now, like it's a hot topic in Canada, and yeah, like Airbnbs are a bit of a touchy subject in rural towns, verbos, that type of thing, when you've got so little. Basically, they want to prioritize the housing for the people who want to come live here and work here, and try and push more people to just be staying in hotels, I think. But yeah, sounds exactly the same. Yeah. Although I imagine Whistler, you've got way more in terms of like high-end housing as well, right? Like a lot more big luxury chalets and stuff. But there's a few of those more and more now popping up around Revelstoke. And they were actually widening the airport. I think they were widening the airport the other week. So who knows? Maybe not long before private jets start flowing in here. I don't know. Vinny, I don't know if you're still on, but I'm always interested to hear from the US perspective on this, right? Because America, from my perception anyway, like, it always seemed the workforce in their ski towns is always, it's very hard to get a job if you're outside of America, right? Coming in and working in, especially if you wanted to do a season. Like, I would have loved when I was younger to have gone to somewhere like Park City, for example, or done a Colorado, but I just never, there never seemed to be like a clear avenue, or even it just never felt like it was possible, right? That's it. The people who are able to stretch a budget to over $3,000 are fine, but that's simply not realistic for seasonaires. Yeah, exactly, right. Like, you do see some of these people on these sites, and you look at it on the Facebook marketplace as well, and that, like, there's clearly people with it, whether it's the big mountain towns or the small mountain towns, who have done very well for themselves, and props to them, and they have a second home, and they're renting out that second home, 3-bed, whatever, and you'll see them advertise it, and like a lot of these are starting from like $3,000, $4,000 a month, and you bulk at it, but then the thing is, somebody pays for that. Just and the problem is that's then 3 beds that could have been housing 4, 5, 6 other staff to ensure that the shop in town that everybody likes to go to, the local coffee shop, runs 7 days a week. Yeah, I'm here. I'm not too sure about how all that works, honestly, but I'm sure work visas are obtainable, right? I'm like an hour and a half away from the ski resorts in Pennsylvania, so I never really knew anyone who did. I don't know. I've just never known anyone certainly from the UK, right, who's gone and worked over there. There was like a camp thing. I don't know what it was called, but that used to be quite popular for people to go over and work. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because, like, obviously the US is so big, right, that I would assume they've not got the shortage of workers that they have maybe in other resort towns around the world, where actually they rely a lot more on that foreign workforce. Yeah, hardly realistic for the most average people. who have worked out resorts. Yeah. Exactly that. So I've got a different question for you guys. What are you most looking forward to about this coming winter? The cheekiest thing is when they start the price cheap. The once peak season comes around, they double or even triple rent. Yeah. But I don't know, just trying to play devil's advocate here, Charlie. I mean, that kind of works on all levels, right? It's not just about the rent there, is it? It's generally if you're booking a ski holiday that if you go in the middle of February, you're going to be paying a lot you're going to be paying a lot more if you were coming early December, late March, for example. That's just the way it's always been. Whether that's renting a place, staying in a hotel, lift tickets. Got to be the BC powder. Alps is truly icy in the last couple of years. Yeah, it's funny because I mean I'm being all optimistic about this light dusting of snow, right, that we've had, but I see that actually Europe's had a couple of a bit of snow as well, like peaks of Val Thorens, for example, some of the glaciers in Europe, and all the Facebook forums are like, oh my god, this is great. But the thing is, that's happened like consistently for the last 3-4 years. You get the snow in like late September, October. Everybody goes crazy, and then come second week in December, everybody turns up at the resorts and there's no snow, and then everybody starts freaking out, and then all the main like regular media starts going, ski resorts in crisis, and then it just keeps going from there. But I hope for Europe's sake they do, they have a good start and they generally have a good season. Just seems to be a bit of a later start year on year now in Europe, right? In the US, I'd assume they have a big work pool to take from. And I know that my ex-girlfriend said a lot of the people she went to school with worked at the resorts since she grew up around there. So plenty of cheap labor. Yeah. A lot easier to do, right? If you've got one on your doorstep. Good point. Well made. Quitting my current job, change of scenery, meeting new people, and obviously getting out on the skis. Amen to that, James. Yeah. It'll be fun to just get out there. It's and the thing is, week on week now, I imagine your excitement's going to build as you start to see a little bit more, bit more snow in the forecast, and you start to count down the days, get all your equipment ready. Yeah, that's for me. It's like, 'cause even like seeing a little dusting up here now, and I just start to become like a little kid in a candy store. I can probably speak for you guys when I said that I've been excited for weeks now. Yeah. Now I mean, I'm able to start getting properly excited now. Like there was a part of me that was kind of just holding it in and sort of now getting, and was preparing myself for the worst on the visa front. So I was like, I was kind of weighing up how much I wanted to start pushing out content, even though I've kind of been doing like consistent live streaming for a few weeks. I haven't done too much vlogs or anything like that. But now I can kind of start driving things up after my break and just go full on with winter excitement. Assume Revy's businesses have started to ramp up a bit. Actually, as a matter of fact, Charlie, yesterday was our last day of summer operations. So we're now about to go into what's called shoulder season. So, there's one or two events going on around town this weekend, but it's generally probably going to empty out a little bit as we're getting into autumn. But then give it, I don't know, I'm going to say, maybe give it go middle of October, and then you'll notice the influx of a couple of new people coming into town, right? But yeah, it'll go quiet now for a few weeks as people take a bit of breaks from it all. There's like a final sale coming up for ski season passes this coming week. So, once that's out of the way, then it's like full winter pricing for like everything, including lift ticket, So yeah, it'll start to ramp up once it gets a bit colder, and yeah, the bikes in the shops will switch out for skis and boots. So yeah. And Charlie, leaving a month today, fully counting down. So the flights are booked, right? Oh, mate. Yeah, that's the type of thing to get excited. That time of year again, when all the skiing films start popping up on YouTube again, always has me dreaming. Yeah, good point. Gavin, what's your go-to? Have you got a ski film you like to watch? I saw a trailer the other day, and I forget the name of it now, but it looked quite funny, and it was a Cody Townsend one, I think, with Chris Rubens, and it was actually focused on their partners as skiers, and like the guy skiers were just on daycare duty, and it looked quite a funny film to watch. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably go and have to. The best one that I've always liked it to watch is The Steep, which is like a classic ski film. I feel like in places like Revy, summer is often forgotten about, but I would love a summer in Revy just as much as winter. It's certainly not, I don't know. It's like summers are always marketed differently, I think, just generally by the way people visit through. But when you spend a summer in here, it is, it is worthwhile. This summer's been long, though. I won't lie. I've been over it for a few weeks. So kind of nice for the cooler weather. I biked up a mountain yesterday. I cycled up Mount Revelstoke, which is not where the ski hill is. The ski hill's on Mount Mackenzie, but I went up Mount Revelstoke in the national park, and it was 26k uphill. So if I'm repositioning myself, it's just because like my legs are sore today, but I did it to prepare for the ski season. So I was hoping to see a little bit of snow on top, but we didn't. But it was cold. I'm loving the levels of engagement, by the way, guys. Like, I'm loving all the comments. So thank you again for like getting involved in all of this. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I had some, just sharing with you guys, there's a couple of custom emojis that I got done for guys as part of a membership offer, which I want to bring out some more information for you guys at a later date. But you can find out more about that on the membership section of my channel. But couple of features that are available to those, for sort of interacting. Vinny is saying here, thanks for taking the time to respond and talk with us, mate. It's a pleasure, and I really enjoy actually hanging out with guys and talking about skiing. And again, it's all part of, for me anyway, I'm like trying to learn and become a better content creator, better storyteller as well about life in the mountains, skiing in Revelstoke. And it's always a challenge for me to, I don't know, I'm constantly sort of trying to find a balance with my work life, enjoying skiing, and also making these videos, plus other things are like outside of all of this. But I love doing this the most because it's building an audience and it's connecting with you guys, and we're all just talking about the same passion. So yeah, it's worth doing. I think the hardest thing, like being honest with you guys, is that it's that constant, I keep having to remind myself now that like I'm no longer in that ski season lifestyle, i.e. like I'm not going like moving from one place to another. I'm like full on in Revelstoke here, wanting to build a life. But the thing is, there is that connection of everybody wanting to come and spend time in the mountains. And so, when people like Charlie and others reach out to me with some of these issues that they've had being in the mountains, like wanting to come and do at least one winter in the mountains, then it's definitely a talking topic and something that's worth bringing up to get your take on as well. And I'm learning about trying to balance that with promoting Revelstoke, or just, making it focused on Revelstoke life, mountain life. Gavin mentioned about skiing films. Anybody got a particular skiing film that they like to watch? I really appreciate you being so helpful and imparting your knowledge on us. You clearly know what you're talking about, and it really shows. Thanks, Charlie. That actually means a lot. Yeah, I want people to be able to enjoy it, as much as I do at times. Although I recognize that maybe the path that I've taken is not maybe the most common one. And what I mean by that is that, like, from what I've seen, a lot of people go into this, just because like they come straight out of school or uni and they don't know what they want to do, or, they just want to try and do one season. Whereas like when I first left university and went straight into that season in France, I knew straight then that I wanted to go into finding a way to make this a full-time thing. But you cross paths with all these other people, so you make mistakes as well yourself, right? Or you have experiences, and so yeah, happy to share these with you guys. I'm glad it proves of some use, right? And hopefully makes your experiences better if you're going out there. Got to leave. Thanks for another great live. Gavin, thanks for tuning in, buddy. I really appreciate it. Have a good Monday. Don't think I've seen any skiing films, really. I watch plenty of ski and snowboarding videos made for YouTube, which is always great. Yeah, like I'll always tune into like a North Face or a Solomon video, right? Have you seen the thriller movie Frozen? No, that's too scary for me. I can't watch that, Vinny. That no, I can't bring myself to watch it, unfortunately. I don't know, actually, more and more now, like I don't know how many ski films I watch, but I'll definitely be like watching a lot of the other ski content creators from around here. You know, like I like a lot of the time if I'm like I'll just be watching other stuff from like Simon or Ride Vibes, Rise and Alpine, Steep, like just some of the people who are kind of within the same niche right now. And yeah, I enjoy I enjoy a lot more now, I think, seeing that first person style. But if there's like a ski movie on in a bar or something like that, like I'm all down for that. There's a video somewhere, there's a movie, and I don't know what it's called, but it's all about this little ski hill on Vancouver Island, and the ski hill is Mount Cain, Cain. And every time I see that movie, I always want to take a trip out to the island, but it's just a long way. Not the best movie to get hyped for the season. Yeah, Frozen is not. No. Maybe one of the James Bond movies with the ski chase on it. That's the other one. Yeah, I really enjoy watching Lucas Catania. His videos are very well made alongside Rise and Alpine and Bramski vlogs, of course. Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, man, Lucas is probably the OG right now in this sort of area, and yeah, his quality of production is just it's second to none. And I it's there's a certain skill, I think, within the video making stuff that I am yet to learn, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I think part of it is editing. That's definitely an aspect of it. It's the editing and the storytelling, you know. And Lucas, I think, has that down to a T. Plus, with the quality of his videos, I think it all combines. And when you have those three main components, then I think it always lends to a real good video. And yeah, I'd thing about Revelstoke, I think, actually, is that there are a couple of pro skiers and some filmmakers in and around the town, and I do really want to spend a bit of time and maybe gain feedback from someone else on how to improve. But yeah, Rise and Alpine, I love it. His energy on those videos are awesome. I'm trying to get him on one of our live streams, guys. Like I have reached out to him. So bombard his comments and ask him when he's coming on a Bramski Vlogs live stream. I want to get him on here, so just so we can talk skiing and talk winter plans. Actually, I know that reminds me, I do need to follow up on that. What about you, Vinny? If you're still here, anyone else? Charlie, what other stuff are you guys watching? Any other ski content? I need to head out, but thanks for chatting and speak soon. Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, I realize I'm still getting the time postings of these, like trying to weigh in on that. Thinking about the time zones, that's quite a challenge because I want to include the North American, Canadian crowd, but also make it so that it's not too late for our guys watching in the UK. And I think that's going to be really hard when it comes to coming into the winter, just being completely frank with you guys. But we'll see. All right, guys, I'm gonna bring it to an end there. Thanks again for an awesome live stream on Monday. Really appreciate you guys chiming in. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, for to keep up to date with when my future live streams are going to be, always check and engage on the community posts, because I'll put a day or two in advance there and let you guys know when they're going to be, because they're never, as you probably learned by now, they're not a consistent posting. It's based on kind of when I can and can't do it. So yeah, feel free to check in on those. Vinny used to watch lots of snowboarding, but I forget their names, and I just see the videos pop up in my feed. Skiers too. Thanks for the going live and the good vibes. Cheers, Matt. Much appreciated. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your Monday, and I'll see you very soon.